What's up, y'all? Welcome to today's Moments of Truth and part 4 of the truth about Romans 8:28. And as I have said, people often use that verse of scripture as encouragement. In other words, something didn't go their way. They didn't get the house that they were bidding on. They didn't get the job they was looking for, the promotion. A relationship went bad, or whatever the case may be. And people use that scripture basically to say, oh, don't worry about it. God got something better for you. God allowed that to happen that way because he's got something better for you. And that context is an improper context for that scripture. That's not really what Paul meant. One of the problems that we have is when we read the Bible, when we think about the scriptures, we think about it with a self-serving mindset. In other words, we don't process the scriptures with the mind of Christ. And therefore, it creates a problem right from the outset in our understanding or in the mentality that we have that's associated with the scriptures because we have a self-serving mindset. So when we think about this scripture, all things work together for the good to those who love God, who are the called according to his purpose. What we have to do is pay attention to what the scriptures are saying. It says all things work together for the good to those who love God. Now, I dealt with that in previous segments of this message here, okay? But it also says, who are the called according to his purpose. And his purpose is he came to seek and save that which is lost. His purpose is he came to heal the brokenhearted. His purpose was he came to glorify God. His purpose was he came to establish righteousness and to demonstrate what righteousness looked like in real life played out. So all of those things are what Jesus' purpose was, and his purpose was salvation. So everything that is associated with his purpose is encompassed in what he communicated as he walked the earth and as he taught and in the things that God communicated through other people. His purpose is not fame and fortune for your life. His purpose is not for you to be rich and wealthy and for you to have a promising career in athletics, in entertainment, as the CEO of a company, as a mega millionaire, or anything that's associated with it. That's not his purpose. So anytime a conversation is happening with someone that uses this verse of scripture and it's associated with something that's related to a person pursuing wealth, fame, fortune, or anything that's carnal or secular like that, that's not consistent with the scriptures. And I challenge anybody, send me a message. I challenge anybody that's listening to me to find one verse of scripture in the Old or New Testament that matches an example where God's purpose for someone is associated with their personal gain. Find one. No examples in the Bible where Jesus, or even in the Old Testament, where God used the prophets and the patriarchs and other peoples, there are no biblical examples where God's purpose is about a person's personal fulfillment. So when we hear these things being said, they're being said in an improper context in relation to the scripture. And that's because we have a self-serving mentality when it comes to how we read the scripture. We think of God as a genie in a bottle whose purpose is to satisfy us. So now, as I hear celebrities, radio personalities, entertainers, and the like, when I hear things, oh yeah, you got to pursue God's purpose for your life, which is for you to be a gospel singer. You got to pursue God's purpose for you. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do this, because God's destiny for you is you're going to run your own business and be a success. That's foolishness. And again, if you can show it to me in the scripture, and I challenge anybody listening to me to send me a message with a scripture verse that confirms that, it's not a proper context. So now going back to all things work together for the good of those who love God, who are according to his purpose, again, if your pursuits and if your engagements are not in line with his purpose, then it does not mean that all things are going to work together for good for you. Because those things that you might be pursuing and engaging in, God may care less about at all. Like God don't care nothing about what kind of car you're driving. He cares that if you need transportation to get to a destination that's consistent with his purpose, because you are somebody that has submitted your life and have committed your life to fulfilling the will of God and fulfilling the purpose of God and Jesus Christ in witnessing to the lost, in ministering to those who are hurting, in promoting the salvation of Jesus Christ and the good news of Jesus Christ, then God will make sure you got a dependable transportation. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a Jaguar or a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce or a BMW or anything like that, because that's not what his purpose is. And we have to understand this as we listen to things being said and as we process what the scripture means, because when we don't, then what we're doing is setting ourselves up for failure. And there are many people, unfortunately, who get discouraged and disgruntled with God because they have an improper mindset about what the scripture means. So that is the truth about Romans 8:28. See you next time on Moments of Truth.